If you want to understand why a minority of American voters are unplugged from the fact-based news that the rest of the country depends on, just imagine being told multiple times a day that real news is a hoax. In this war on truth, we are all living in, hoax is a potent, malicious, ugly little word, and Trump has been using it more every year. So has Fox. Donald Trump has shouted hoax hundreds of times about everything from climate change to Supreme Court rulings to impeachment. One way to solve a mystery is by asking the right questions until answers start to emerge. Rarely, if ever, has a cable news channel employed a host who has previously campaigned for the business goals of the channel's parent company. But channels like MSNBC have moved to more opinionated formats. They have exposed themselves to potential conflicts. There are so many families that are divided by Fox and Trump. I think a lot of people have been surprised by just how deep and how corrupt the roots are, how there's been collusion between Fox and Trump right in plain sight the whole time, and yet it's not often recognized. I was learning this from numerous sources, friends of Hannity, associates of Hannity, who say that off the record, Hannity is complaining about Trump, saying he's a crazy person. But Sean and these other stars of Fox, they're so committed to the business model, to their ratings, they want to make sure their viewers stay tuned. Glenn Beck and others were pretty outrageous and extremely conspiratorial in the pre-Trump years. I don't mean to totally gloss over some of the nuttiness that was airing on Fox pre-Trump, but I do see a distinction between those years and the Trump years. What Fox News has become in 2020 is a conclusion of decades of right-wing media and rhetoric against the rest of the media. In the 90s it was about media bias. In the 2000s it was about media bias. Now, the rhetoric is so much more extreme. It's about enemies of the people. What I always tell people about Trump, or Kellyanne Conway, or Sarah Sanders, is that when you are interviewing these people, it is really more about the interviewer than the interviewee. What I mean by that is that the interviewer has to be ready to interrupt, fact-check, challenge, rebut. I suppose my attitude is what's most important is that we surround the president's misleading information with accurate information and help people know what is true, because I think the biggest trend of the Trump years is that people are increasingly confused about what is real and what is made up. There are networks now and websites that make Fox News blush, that, you know, people at Fox News say to me, well, those are radicals, those are extremists. And President Trump, if he does not win the election, he may well end up with a show on one of those networks. Sean Hannity is a hypocrite. He's blasting anonymous sources and saying journalism is dead when he uses an anonymous source in the form of President Trump. For a broad, star-powered picture like The Interview, a big tent release in 2,000 to 3,000 theaters is the top choice for a movie studio like Sony Pictures. It's the difference between a $1 million and a $10 million box office total. Everyone at Fox could see that the way to get attention, to get promoted, to get ahead was to hitch a ride with Trump and never look back. The Trump White House has employed several different strategies for sidestepping uncomfortable questions. There has been a rightward tilt at press conferences and briefings. At Q&A sessions with foreign heads of state, Trump has bypassed the country's biggest newsrooms and called on reporters from conservative outlets instead. To be sure, every White House tries to limit its exposure to difficult and distracting questions. The Obama administration was scrutinized for its use of late-night shows and YouTube chats to get the president's message across in low-risk situations. Of course, Fox and Friends is more of an entertainment product than a newscast. The show's viewers know that the morning show promotes Trump and his agenda. Most of Trump's interviews are with boosterish shows like this. There's a gender gap throughout television, and it's very pronounced in morning TV since these shows are mostly meant for women. I never covered Barack Obama watching ESPN at night, because he wasn't making life or death choices based on the basketball games. It is an honor to take the helm of reliable sources, the very best of a very small number of programs about the media's role in society. I keep hearing from readers who say, hoax helps them understand their own family a little bit better. When there are falsehoods and ludicrous statements made at briefings, we've got to call that out. Trump granted pardons because of Fox. He raged against migrant caravans because of Fox. He accused public servants of treason because of Fox. And he got the facts wrong again and again because of mistakes and misreporting by the network. The internet creates more space for extremism, and the echo chamber effect accelerates the process. It's not as if Trump is addicted to the best researched, most in-depth, meticulously sourced material in the world. If he were, we'd all be better off, right? Chris Wallace is probably the most of an exception because his program, Fox News Sunday, also airs on Fox broadcast stations. So he doesn't feel as many of the same ratings pressures to please the right-wing audience versus all the rest of the programs. I am glad that Hoax came out a couple weeks before Bob Woodward's book. We both have these one-word titles. His is Rage, mine is Hoax. They do make for a great pairing, and I'm not saying that as a sales pitch. The broadcast networks, they are literally broad. They try to appeal to everyone. They try to reach all of America, all the time. Increasingly, they fail to do that, but they try. We should always remember that Fox News will stick out like a sore thumb no matter what the other news outlets do, and that has to be recognized as an issue. For all the talk about, and appeals to, Trump fans who wanted to watch the press corps bullied and bashed, most Americans don't want that. They never did. Most Americans want to know what is real and true so that they can make the best decisions for their families. Click link in bio for free study notes. Limited spots, follow us now. Study Note 10.